Hello, my name is Alfredo Puente, and in this lesson we will be covering the history of the Assemblies of God. Before the Assemblies of God came to be, God was orchestrating his plan for the worldwide organization. With the Holy Spirit manifesting during different periods, early Pentecostal pioneers looked to previous spiritual outpourings such as the First Great Awakening between the 1730s and 1740s, and Second Great Awakening between the 1800s and 1830s for inspiration and instruction. Martin Luther, John Wesley, and Dwight L. Moody were reformers and revivalists that the early pioneers identified themselves with. One of the focal points of the emerging Pentecostal movements was known as the Azusa Street Revival that took place in 1906 to 1909. Like a puzzle, what God was placing each piece in its place and had selected this unlikely location for an outpouring of the Holy Spirit which would change Christianity. In the summer of 1906, William J. Seymour initiated a newly formed congregation that met at the Apostolic Faith Mission in Los Angeles, California. Seymour preached racial reconciliation and restoration of biblical gifts, spiritual gifts, and that caused attacks. Soon, the revival became a local sensation and began to attract thousands of people from around the world. Seymour had been a student of Charles Parham, who believed that and taught that the Bible evidence, later known as the initial evidence of the baptism of the Holy Spirit, was speaking in tongues. That teaching became the defining mark of the emerging Pentecostal movement. Parham was able to succeed in promoting the restoration of speaking in tongues through his apostolic faith movement because of the prayer meeting that took place at his Bethel Bible School in Topeka, Kansas on January 1st, 1901, where students began speaking in tongues. While the apostolic faith movement was largely confined to South Central United States, God used the Azusa Street revival to catapult Pentecostalism to a worldwide audience. As the revival rapidly spread, many Pentecostals saw the need for greater organization and accountability. The founding fathers and mothers of the Assemblies of God met in Hot Springs, Arkansas on April 2nd to the 12th on 1914 to promote unity and doctrinal stability, establish legal standing, coordinate missions, and to establish a ministerial training school. They established the first general council and elected two officers, Eudorus N. Bell as chairman, title later changed to general superintendent, and J. Roswell Flowers as secretary, as well as the first executive presbytery. Alice Flowers, along with J. Roswell Flowers, besides being prominent founders of the Assembly, they were also editors of the Christian Evangel. T.K. Leonard wrote the constitutional preamble that established the name Assemblies of God and offered his facilities for the initial headquarters. Other notable figures also include representatives from the Apostolic Faith Movement, Chicago Pentecostals, and MA Pentecostals like Howard Goss, D.C.O. Opperman, Mac M. Pinson, and Ark Collins. A doctrinal dispute arose early in the life of the assembly. A choice had to be made to either abandon traditional Trinitarian theology in favor of a model monarchian view of the Godhead, also called the oneness theology, or maintain their views. So the General Council approved a statement of fundamental truths, which affirmed Trinitarian orthodoxy in 1916. The split in the young Pentecostal movement was difficult for the leaders on both sides. Differences in scriptural understanding led to difficult choices in supporting ministries and fellowshipping together. Bell ended his 1919 article with these words: "If the other brethren had never introduced other matters dishonoring to the Father and to the Son, and contrary to the Scriptures, and had held only for the matchless and glorious true deity of the blessed Son of God, then we would be all pulling together today. if they will drop all these unscriptural issues and hold only for his true deity, we can do it yet. So, through the course of time, the Assemblies of God has 20 endorsed Bible colleges, universities, and a seminary in the United States. And lastly, the Assemblies of God has continued to center their identity on evangelism and missions throughout the course of time, and in result, the organization has not only grown within the U.S. but expanded worldwide. The Assembly has accomplished establishing self-supporting and self-propagating church bodies in every country.